a little bit of a video in terms of neck training and neck strength in relation to driving and racing. The neck's a very complex part of the body to train. It's an area that is fundamentally very fragile and very susceptible to injury if trained in the wrong manner. However, there is a growing body of research both from combat sports, impact sports such as rugby, and from racing itself, which supports the concept of the stronger you can build the muscles around the neck, not only does it help in terms of resisting forces, for example, when driving with G-force of braking and cornering, but it also helps in terms of impacts and, in the point of racing, crashes, in helping to minimise the effects of concussion, helping to prevent concussion to begin with, and also helping to protect the spine and ultimately reduce the risk of injury. So in terms of training in the neck, we'll go through two different methods that can be used. One thing that's really important to remember is that when we're training the neck, we want this work essentially to be isometric. So we want to avoid movements where we're tilting the neck, because this can lead to injuries in itself through the facets within the spinal column. So everything that we're going to do in terms of neck training is going to be isometric, where we're looking to essentially keep the spine nice and straight and be resisting against force and holding our neck in a stable position. When we're talking about racing, this is much the same as what we're essentially trying to achieve in the car. So whether we're in a car or in a kart, we're not trying to actively tilt our head when we're going into corners. What we are looking to do is hold that nice stable upright position and resist the forces that are on the head trying to push it to the side. Okay, so the first exercise that we're going to look at in terms of training the neck is largely based around just using our own body weight and our hands to apply a little bit of resistance. So what we're going to look at to start with is simply 3 planes of motion. So when it comes to driving, we've got the lateral G-forces that we need to resist, and we've also got the G-forces going forwards, which we predominantly get under braking. In karts, we've also got the G-force going backwards because we haven't got our head restraint like we do in a car, which stops the need as such to resist the forces under acceleration. So all we're going to do for this exercise, really simple, is tense our core, and we can do this either sitting or standing. I'll demonstrate it standing. Sitting down makes it a bit easier because you then not got to maintain your balance. So bracing our core, keeping our trunk nice and upright, thinking about keeping our head upright and straight. All we're going to do is take our hand and place it on the side of our head. From this position, what we're going to do is we're going to apply some force to our head as if we're trying to push our head over. So pressing against our head, and all we're looking to do is tense our neck and resist that force. So the harder I push, the more force I've got to apply through my neck to resist my hand pushing my head over. It's a really simple bodyweight based exercise, and with that we can do both sides. We can do the front, so again in that position there, tense our core, looking to tuck our chin in, press against, so we're not tilting the head back, we're not bringing our chin right down, we just maintain that nice neutral position, chin tucked, pushing against, and we can do the same on the back of the head as well when it comes to karting. So that is fundamentally the simplest exercise in terms of training our neck, and one that we can do without any kit or any equipment. What we can then do is play around with the duration we do each hold for, the number of sets and the number of reps that we do to start to build up that neck strength and that endurance. So the second exercise that we're going to look at for training the neck is one where we're going to start to add in some resistance and some external load. The principles of this are still the same, so we're still looking to maintain a nice upright position, a nice stable neck, and to resist against the force rather than looking at flexing or bending our neck. There are a number of ways of doing this, some if you're on your own and some if you've got some assistance. The simplest method, if you're in a gym on your own or you're training at home, is to use a resistance band. My preference for this, when you start to use external load, is to be in a seated position. It simply makes it safer, and it means it's a lot easier to maintain a nice upright torso and avoid leaning through the core instead of engaging our neck. So for this one, all we're simply going to do is put a resistance band around a pole. We can do it around a table leg, a chair, anything that's got some weight to it. And all we're then going to do is stretch it, apply a little bit of load, and we're looking to go just around the forehead and essentially then maintain that position. What we can do, because we're using resistance bands, is build up the resistance and the intensity either through stepping up the band or by stretching it further. But like I say, from this position, all we're looking to do, tense our core, tense our neck, and maintain that nice stable position, nice upright core, nice upright neck. Same as when we're doing the exercises using our hands. We can do both sides, we can do forwards and we can do back, all using resistance band. If you are training with somebody else, then there are a number of other elements that we can bring in. You can get somebody else to essentially stand there and apply the force with their hands, which can add a little bit more of a reactive element to the movement, like when you're driving a car. Or what you can do is there are a number of harnesses out there, such as the gatherer systems, which will do a similar thing to using a resistance band. They are just a little bit more comfortable because it will give you a full harness that you can clip on. So you've not got one point of contact on the head, and you can then attach resistance bands to it. However, you will need somebody to be training with you at the time because they essentially apply the resistance to the band. But principles remain the same. You're looking to maintain that nice straight upright position. In terms of training yourself or training with somebody who's not experienced in motorsport or in neck strength training, these are the safest but most effective principles that we can use. Yes, there are other exercises that we can bring in where we're essentially looking to maintain a plank position, so bracing through the core and the neck, through different movements and through resting on our head. However, this is something that I would never recommend somebody does unless they are working with a coach who is experienced in training the neck, knows what they're doing and has a lot of experience working with drivers. And also, unless you're a driver who has a long history of neck training to begin with and has built up a significant degree of neck strength to start with.